Hi, folks. Welcome to Empowering Educators, Collaborative Strategies for Elevating Your Institute Day. I'm Steph Suko, and I am from Community High School District 155, and I'm here to talk to you today about how we can enhance or how we can tweak a traditional professional development day to create a more interactive and engaging and collaborative experience for our teachers. One way to do that is by using Pear Deck. So if you go to joinpd.com and type in the code RWDOPZ, again, that code is RWDOPZ, you'll be able to interact with these slides. These slides are going to be in student pace mode, so you're going to be able to move at your own pace through them, and there'll be lots of resources embedded throughout that presentation as well. So let's take a look. Features of Pear Deck. All right, what are we going to do today? Well, today we've got 4 goals. One is to reflect on the characteristics of adult learners. I've always said that teachers can make some of the toughest students, so we'll talk about different strategies to work with adult learners. Then we'll also explore the benefits of collaboration among educators and how that collaboration focus can enhance professional development. Then we'll talk a little bit about face-to-face collaborative questioning and different questioning strategies. And finally, we're going to discuss how we can give choice and voice back to our educators. Now, again, like I said, let's make this session interactive, and you can download the slides. You can also use the Pear Deck code to interact with and give feedback on the different questions that we'll be engaging with. So first things first, what I love about Pear Deck that can make any slideshow presentation interactive is that you can app smash. So you can take the best of multiple different tools and connect them together. So here on the left-hand side, if you click on this share button, you'll be able to open up and go to the Google form. Once in the Google form, you'll be able to enter information that will automatically appear here so that we can see who's participating in these sessions. So app smashing, using different Google tools, using Kahoot, using some of our favorite tech tools, we can use with Pear Deck to create that interactive and guided experience for participants. So on an institute day, have you ever felt like falling asleep? Or just like our students ask the question, why do we have to learn this stuff? Or maybe you're the type of person that the first day back on summer break, when we start off with a staff meeting icebreaker, you kind of roll your eyes and say, not for me. Well, we've all been there, and we've all been in meetings where we wish it was just an email. So how do we get or minimize those feelings? One question that I love to ask myself as I'm planning a lesson is, would I want to be a student in my own classroom? That's not to say we don't have, information that we have to just get out, and not every piece of information or instruction is going to be super exciting, but how can we make it more meaningful, and how can we make it an experience instead of just talking at someone? Unfortunately in a webinar, sometimes it feels like that, but one strategy, or using a tech tool like Pear Deck, can allow people to pause and reflect and interact in different ways. And that's really what we're looking for when we're talking about elevating our institute days, using that time so that our learning is active. Now, I'm going to go back to my different slides here. And so on this particular slide, you've got a draw feature. So my question for you is, on an institute day, what is your most important goal? And so if we go back to student view over here, you can see that I can draw and I can check off a few things. I can even click this T and I can type. And so as I'm typing there, I can go back to my teacher view. And now I'm going to go to the dashboard and show you what that looks like. So when I show responses here, I can see the responses that I made. I can also stack different responses. So if I had many students or many teachers participating, I could stack to see where the most colors were. But this is a really great tool that allows me to gather information. So let's think about what is your goal? So another question that I have for you, and I'm going to go to the slideshow view here. When it comes to planning for an institute day or professional development or even just a staff meeting, what goals do you set? And, after the meeting, how do you know you've reached those goals? So thinking about just the way we would plan for a lesson or plan for a unit of instruction, planning ahead can help us to understand, not only what we want our teachers and our staff to walk away from, but we'll also be able to measure that learning or that experience as well. So step 1, let's reflect on the characteristics of adult learners. I really like Malcolm Knowles' adult learner theory, which has been around for a few decades now, but this particular theory, and that's a really great TED Talk that we'll talk about in a second, but he states that learning should be self-directed, experiential, relevant, sensory-based, and goal-oriented. Essentially, just like our young learners, we know, teachers or adults don't want to sit still. They want autonomy and being able to make some choice and experience what they're learning, and being relevant and timely. We all have a million things on our list. Many of us have families as well, or might be coaching. There's any number of things that we might be doing outside of school. So we want our in-school time to be really meaningful. So if you click on this link, teachers create what they experience. Katie Martin is going to talk about how if we design experiences for our teachers, they are going to go and in turn design meaningful experiences for their students. So making those connections, definitely check out that TED Talk. Now, again, there are times where we just have to disseminate information. Laws change, district policy, building vision. There are times where we have to talk at people or share information. But instead of just sitting and lecturing at our teachers, let's think about ways we could use technology like Pear Deck to make our information more interactive. Also, create opportunities for movement and conversation. So when it comes to this video, feel free to pause and come back to it at any time. If this was synchronous, if we were all together, challenge or find ways to get groups to talk, mix people up. I really like a tool called Flippity, which allows me to put all the names of the people in the session together and then randomize the groupings and give them questions to talk about. Other things that you can do is do not talk at people. Get input and perspective. Provide opportunities for teachers to talk. In a later slide, I'm going to show you a Padlet parking lot where if there's information that you have to disseminate out, you can gather people's feedback while you're giving that information. And that also could be a place where you create opportunities to set goals. Make sure that people know what the objectives are, what the takeaways are, so that they can build towards that. Another thing, if it can just be emailed, just send an email. Now, I know teachers, humans, we don't all always read our emails, but if there's a bulleted list, preview it, get a way to elaborate on it and provide opportunities to ask questions, but keep it timely and relevant. And again, save the checklist for the email. You want your conversations, your full staff meetings to be people-centered. Again, find ways to, have be it goal-oriented, get them talking, and use and enhance your experience with technology and hands-on experiences as much as possible. Even with adult learners, it's important to be learner-centered throughout the entire process. Now, here's that parking lot that I've shared with you. So there's a Padlet here that asks you to add your questions. While we are talking here, so I'm going to go now to the slide in Pear Deck to show you just how nice it looks with Padlet here. So students can add that little plus sign. They can add their questions. I've got 2 sections in this Padlet, so they can share their thoughts on what ideas do you guys have to make learning more interactive. So feel free to add something up at the top. You can also just add a question here. And this, again, is a really nice tool that makes our ideas visual, and it curates them as well so that we can save them for later too. Step number 2, let's explore the benefits of collaborations and how we can use it to enhance our professional development experiences. Well, there are many benefits to collaboration. It leads to professional growth, we can share best practices, and we can develop innovative ideas. When we can amplify and celebrate amazing things that are happening in classrooms, they no longer happen in silos. We can share and create that community that is willing and open to give each other their best resources. Collaboration also promotes a sense of community. It makes us a team. Collaboration improves student outcomes and it leads to a better climate and culture as well. When we collaborate, we're putting all the pieces together and we're working with each other, which can be really powerful. So, how do we promote collaboration? Well, one thing, I really love this Edutopia article that talks about, focusing on activities and clubs that are not just for students, but for teachers too. Develop school-wide learning opportunities, dedicate time to that, and encourage teachers to get in each other's classrooms. Here's a video. I've worked with a colleague to create a book study amongst our people in our district. Getting opportunities to have conversations that are asynchronous, they're accessible, and they bring people together can be really powerful. Find ways to save teachers time too. Again, PD should not be adding to the list, but instead finding ways to be more efficient, more effective, and take things off their plate. Backwards planning when it comes to PD is really important too. So here is a template that you can use that I use to create a year-long plan to map out different exercises, activities, tasks, and things like that. So you can see the goals here, important links, things to do in the summer, and essentially this is a task list of all the different opportunities that you want to provide for collaboration for your staff and for your teachers. There are 4 different levels of collaboration that we're going to go through now, and authentic collaboration is meaningful. It doesn't happen in just a single session. It happens over the course of an entire school year. And collaboration needs a plan. So you can make a copy of the plan by clicking that link right here. And you can see that as well. So there's a template for you to work off of. And it starts with sharing. Like I said, Pear Deck is one of my favorite tools, and it allows us to collaborate so much. It gets a chance to collect every person's voice. Mentimeter is a really great, simple tool as well that does very similar things to Pear Deck. Kahoot, Gimkit, any of those formative games, the students love them, so why shouldn't the teachers experiment with them as well? And when you bring in some of those popular tech tools for the classroom with your staff, they're far more likely to use it and see how user-friendly it is. I think when we experience things as students, they become more comfortable and we can see the application even more. Here is a Pear Deck 101 slideshow that if you're a new user that you can explore. Again, you see that app smashing happening right here, but it's a really great resource for you to get started. The benefits of Pear Deck is that they're easy and fast to use. Slides, they comes with slides that are built for you, or it can add on directly to slides that you've already created, and you can collect and review information quickly. So here is one of my favorite things, the drawing feature here. It's so nice. You can draw and you can add to it. Kids have a lot of fun drawing, and I've seen teachers have a lot of fun too. It just gets us back and outside of our element a little bit, and then that silliness creates a better climate to be in, which can in turn create that better culture that we're looking for in our schools. Cooperative learning is the next stage of collaboration, and this involves sharing work and resources. When you set the precedent yourself for sharing resources, your teachers are far more likely to do it as well. Creating opportunities for roundtable discussions, peer observations, and feedbacks. I've got the classic pineapple chart picture right there. These are all great ways to get involved. Coordination. Coordination takes careful planning and admin support. Coordination does not involve just one PD session. teachers with the same prep can work together, but coordination also is building wide. It's not just the same grade level disciplined teachers working together, it's many people working together to create a bigger picture and scope for our students. And it encourages interdisciplinary work. The more we can work together, the better. Now, finally, the last stage of collaboration is that integrated collaboration. It's happening every single day. Teachers and staff are working together in small groups and teams. They're working towards a common greater goal, and it's allowing for time to be built into the schedule for that collaboration. Now, here's an example of a choice board. Even teachers and professional development experiences can involve choice boards. Professional learning can be asynchronous. It can happen at people's time. It can happen later at night for our coaches. It can happen early in the morning for our early risers, but it just gives that flexibility for our staff. Now, moving forward here, back to the parking lot. Let's revisit our thoughts. Here again, you've got the same sections that you can keep adding to. Now, the parking lot stays put. It's something that is accessible over time and time again. Something to think about here is I love kind of that comment box or that comment jar. I've heard and used the what I wish my teacher knew as an experience in the back of the room for students to add notes to, but I have one for admin as well. Another thing that admin can do is leave positive Post-it notes. So here I've got some links for different choice boards that you can have for your staff. But I also love creating Post-it notes. And I put these actually through the printer, and they could be to-do lists. They can be Bitmoji, inspirational, but leaving a Post-it note after an observation or a walkthrough or just a kind note, if you know a teacher's going above and beyond, is so powerful. And here is a fun template that you can download, and you can type in it, you can tweak it. But essentially, you run these through the printer, and it can create really powerful templates as well. So moving forward here, what other types of professional development can we offer besides just the sit and get? Like I alluded to earlier, the book club, asynchronous PD is really powerful. Pop-up PD, so 15 minutes kind of popping in and out with some snacks can be really powerful. And following the EdCamp model, where it's really a grassroots, where teachers suggest the sessions, teachers lead the sessions, and teachers go to the sessions. I have a ton of books. These books a lot of them are the Dave Burgess Company. They're really, really powerful and awesome to read, and these make really great book studies. Your LMS is also a really great resource. So here I've got learning pathways and how to use Canvas, requirements to build guided asynchronous experiences for teachers. So that's definitely something you can check out. Remember that your learning management system you can use with teachers and let them experience it from the student perspective, which allows them to understand and learn at their own pace. It also shows them what they might consider doing or aspire to doing in their own courses. Now, asynchronous fun is a blast. This year with staff, we use Goose Chase, which is a scavenger hunt app. Essentially, they broke into 6 teams, and they had challenges throughout all of homecoming week. And it was fun to see so many staff running around trying to get all of the challenges done. And they did an absolutely phenomenal job. And the top video here is an explanation of how to play it. Then the bottom video is the results, where we gathered some pictures, and you can use those instructions with your staff to actually create this fun experience too. Now, not only do kids like choice boards, but adults like choice boards too. Here is a PD March Madness style experience, and you can see there's all sorts of fun things where they have to make a tic-tac-toe or the bingo, and it can really enhance the teacher experience. You can also create a weekly newsletter or slideshow. This is a great way to communicate, and we found a balance between our learning management system, tech, and instructional ideas, as well as a staff shout out to celebrate great things happening throughout the school. Now let's stop and reflect. Have you ever been a part of a group that had excellent collaboration? What made that group so special? How can you replicate that experience for your colleagues, your staff? And what can we do to create more collaborative teams? So spend some time reflecting and thinking about that, and then we'll move on to our next step. Step 3, let's foster face-to-face collaboration. Technology is great. Technology can help us to connect when we can't meet face-to-face, but there is nothing like replacing that face-to-face collaboration. So one thing to consider is being all in. I love this video here. And I'm going to pause that while we let it play out. But look at the coordination and the collaboration this group had to do to make sure that they could make a basket. And look how happy they are and excited they are when they are successful. Now, imagine how long it took all of those kids to practice that. How do we design experiences that help our teachers to be all in? I love Jennifer Gonzalez and the Cult of Pedagogy. Here is a really great podcast on backwards design. And again, creating those meaningful experiences starts with planning the end goal in mind and then working backwards to get there. What helps people feel like they belong? I think when we create a sense of belonging, we are building up our greater community. And we want our students to feel like they belong, but we need to make sure that our staff feels like they belong as well. How might we develop classrooms that feel like communities? This is a series of questions that I asked staff at the beginning of the school year in a small breakout session where I had them using Flippity. I had them in random groups and they were answering some of these questions. And they were working together to talk about how do we bring students together? How do we promote collaboration in our classrooms? And in doing so, having that deep conversation, those roundtable discussions, they were collaborating amongst themselves too. So what works for our students can work for our staff as well. And that idea of cannonball in. Every splash makes an impact. And so setting the goal and diving right in can really help to make our staff feel like they belong. Here's another great video. I will just show the brief few moments of it. You might have seen it before, but this is the Olympics where there was an injury and this poor runner is limping, and you can see that a person comes up behind him and is helping him finish the race. And later you find out it's his dad. And people tried to stop them at first, but literally you see that dad carrying him across the way. We've all had moments where we have been not at our best, and we've kind of limped through some things. And that idea of when we can pick each other up, we can build resilience within each other. That's so important. And so finding videos like that can inspire people, encourage them to make those connections is really powerful. All right, let's take a look at step 4. Let's discuss how we can give choice and voice back to our teachers. Now, here are some questions to consider. What feedback do we already have from our teachers, whether it's general surveys, the 5 essentials, qualitative information? How are we gathering information from our teachers? How often do we seek feedback on Institute days and experiences that our teachers have? And what can we do to continue to give voice to our teachers? It always comes back to time. If we're going to add something or enhance with something, we have to forego something. And so how could we as admin get really creative by using subs or covering classes and duties to increase time for teachers to collaborate? What can we do to foster and facilitate that discussion? Again, I go back to the same goals of what is most important on those Institute days. Again, start with what's most important, prioritize that, and the rest will follow. Now, as you think about your Institute day, how are you feeling? Are you feeling ready and charged? Do you have goals set or an idea or a roadmap that we can use backwards planning to get to? If you still have questions, please, there's so much to cover and so much information. Also, let's think about your takeaways from this experience. What are you taking with you back to your schools? And I would love some feedback so I can continue to enhance this presentation and this experience. So if you could fill out the Google form right here. And thanks for participating in Empowering Educators, those collaborative strategies to elevate the Institute Day to the next level. So here are some great resources and readings if you want to learn more. Thanks for joining.